It's Weather Impact Live, and a special edition of Weather Impact Live. We are talking tropics. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta.
I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick, and we talk tropics at least once a week because it is hurricane season. But today we do have an update for you.
Yeah, we have we are humbly calling the banana. It is a low chance of tropical development over the first coast, and not near the first coast. It really is pretty much right over us.
And the reason for that is we're going to watch an area of low pressure that's going to form in the Gulf this weekend, but then it's going to drift over to the Atlantic coast, and that means it has to cross over, the first coast. So that's what that big blob is saying, hey, maybe it has a chance of developing when it's still over those warm Gulf waters, or maybe when it hits the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic. But it looks like a banana. It is yellow. It is the same shape. Yeah. You said that first thing today when it first popped up, and now the entire newsroom is using it.
The entire newsroom's calling it the banana. We got a banana because it's better than, it sounds less frightening than saying we got a tropical area, because really this area, I don't want anybody to be mistaken in thinking that this is screaming that a hurricane is going to form over the first coast, because that's not what's happening here. Not all the guidance is on board. It's still a low chance of development, but there is some models on board. The National Hurricane Center did put this out right around about 8:45 this morning, or for the 9 o'clock update here. And yeah, I mean, we got basically what looks like happening, a lot of moisture across our area. You got this little upper level low over Mississippi and Georgia, and that's going to kind of shift towards the south and help pick up that moisture and increase in the rainfall over the weekend.
Yeah, so we the push alert just came out for this stream again on our app. So if you're just joining us now, there is a low chance of tropical formation that is right over the Gulf Coast. The first coast. It is an area of low pressure that we will watch in the Gulf, as you see right there. It will then cross over. There you go. And then move into the Atlantic. And so while it's in any of these spots, the warm Gulf waters or the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic, those warm waters, maybe it could start to develop and pick up some tropical characteristics. But as of right now, nothing's actually out there at this moment. The low pressure would form over the weekend and in the Big Bend region of the Gulf, it looks like.
Yeah, and nothing also indicates a hurricane at this point. Let's kind of stress that. But let's talk about what it does indicate and what it doesn't indicate. First off, you can see here that deep moisture. So we go ahead through Sunday and into Monday. Around the Big Bend area, a lot of guidance showing some pretty decent rainfall actually out there along coastal areas. Like Perry's going to be looking at some pretty decent rainfall. This is our high resolution. Have you seen this, the graph yet?
Yes, I was just starting to look at it because it's just starting to come in because it only goes out so far.
It only goes out to Saturday, but it does show a little bit of a low rate in there.
Right, and so that's, that is what a lot of models have been picking up on for some time now, really since this past weekend. And it's not saying it's going to develop. Now, some models, as Robert was talking about earlier, say, hey, maybe we could get a tropical depression or low-end tropical storm. That would be some models like the Google DeepMind, some AI models. Same sort of models, though. The AI models, that's what was showing it over the weekend. But then we talk about the GFS model, too, the American model, which is notorious for popping out big hurricanes weeks in advance that just don't ever actually happen. Right now, it's not actually showing anything out there in the Gulf. So
the lack of a phantom storm from the GFS
is kind of very interesting. So all that to say, we're being kept on our toes with this one. It's something we have been watching for several days. It's not new. If you joined yesterday or even the day before, we talked about it in our 10:30 stream. But we are now, the National Hurricane Center now said, okay, you know what, there's enough out there that will at least highlight it for a low chance. And even this morning, we were looking at some models that were showing maybe the possibility, and they're kind of ramping up, getting a little more, saying, hey, maybe this will start to develop a little bit more over the weekend. So nothing too scary right now.
So Lee is and myself are both saying, a lot of these terms here: low pressure area, tropical wave, tropical storm, hurricane. If you are new to the tropics, let's say you just moved to the first coast, Jacksonville, St. Johns County, the fastest growing county in all the United States. maybe you move from Canada and you're like, what is she talking about? Lee, I'm gonna let you explain here
from Canada,
some tropical terminology. So yeah, let's discuss it.
Tropical wave is a term you hear frequently before a storm forms. A tropical wave is an unorganized area of storms traveling west out of Africa. These are important to follow because around 85% of major hurricanes begin as tropical waves. Another common term you hear is invest. Invest stands for investigative area. When a tropical wave becomes more organized, the National Hurricane Center will designate the area of disturbed weather as an invest. Each invest is given a number from 90 to 99. For example, Invest 90L. The L tells us the system is in the Atlantic. This also allows the NHC to run ensemble models or spaghetti models on these systems. You might also hear the term cyclone during hurricane season. A cyclone is a blanket term for any area of low pressure that has a closed circulation. Hurricanes, tropical storms, and tropical depressions are all cyclones because they are closed areas of low pressure. Meteorologist Lee Southwick, First Coast News on your side.
Here in Jacksonville and on the first.
Okay, so we have that area of low pressure that we keep saying. We don't call it a tropical depression, a cyclone, because it's not a closed area. It's not a defined, closed, low center of circulation. It will just be more of that like low pressure system that will sit out there in the Gulf that we will watch to see if maybe it becomes a closed area.
And we need some of these ingredients really to come together before we get a low pressure area. So let's talk about what we have and what we don't have out there. One thing we do have, Lee, is the sea surface temperatures.
Oh yeah, warm waters out there. You need temperatures right around 80 degrees to support tropical development. This is warmer than that, so that ingredient unfortunately checked off the list.
And not only at the surface, but also just kind of the overall water column in the Gulf here is rather warm. Now, there is those areas in the darker blue kind of indicating that it's just warm at the surface, but you get a little south of that, especially off southwest Florida. This is mainly because we haven't had any tropical systems quite much out there to stir things up. 1, 2, we got a couple warm eddies in the Gulf, so these are all kind of factors. Plus, you see it off the East Coast, that's the Gulf Stream, which if this system does decide, okay, I'm going to move over Florida, I'm going to move off towards Northeast, Lee mentioned it a moment ago, it could move into the Gulf Stream and try to kind of pick up a little bit of that energy there.
And with the blue, we're like, oh, in blue only at the surface it's warm. That area, though, where it's blue, it's all shallow water. You don't really have deep water there to actually get down to like reach the level for that deep warm water content. So it doesn't matter because up in the Big Bend, people who go scalloping know you go 5 miles and it's like 3 feet of water. Like the whole entire column.
And also that
gradual.
whole area is still it's like high 80s, near 90 degrees. So
exactly.
It's a
so
hot
the
tub.
water is warm enough for tropical development across the Gulf.
So wind shear is the other thing we're looking at.
Yes.
There is some shear out there right now, but you see here by Sunday, it kind of backs off a little bit. So if the shear backs off enough, that would also mean that we would have still that favorable conditions for development. Think of shear as kind of like blowing out a candle. That's the best way I kind of vision it with a crude example is like if you're about to blow out a birthday candle, and when you first blow on it, the flame kind of tilts a little bit. If you blow really hard, the flame gets blown out. If there's no wind on it, the flame's going straight up and down. The best kind of crude way to think about how shear interacts with a tropical system. Too much shear, it could blow it right out. All right, so let's talk about also the Saharan dust. We've had this out here for the last few days. We've had some muted sunrises and sunsets, pretty beautiful. That also hinders tropical cyclone development. If we go back here, we still have it over our area here. Scoot it ahead by Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. It's still there, but it backs off.
Yeah.
And that is also conducive somewhat for development here, Lee.
It is. So with less of the Saharan dust, think of dust or sand, desert sand. It's dry. If you breathed it in, you'd choke. And that's what happens to hurricanes if they get wrapped up with the Saharan dust gets wrapped up in a hurricane. It chokes it and it makes it disappear and disintegrate because it is dry air infiltrating a system that really needs warm tropical moisture.
And then we take a look at kind of some of the main points here with this system. And I shouldn't even call it a system, potential, because there's nothing there right now. Increasing rainfall at the very least over the weekend. It's a low chance of tropical development. But I think right now it's kind of one of those times where we need to watch and monitor. And
that is the top point there is the most important for everyone who's watching from the First Coast, from the Jacksonville area. Whether this develops or not, we have increasing rain chances. We will see heavy tropical downpours, especially looking like the Sunday timeframe, but really weekend into early next week. Heavy tropical downpours that could lead to some localized flooding in some areas. So we here at First Coast News, we even just issued a weather impact alert for Sunday.
Yeah, actually I have to update that on one of these graphics here because we're going to be looking at the very least, if you got weekend plans. I know there's always something going on here.
I
on the First
updated the
Coast
wind
in summer.
graphic. If you want to.
Nice. Okay, I'll pull that up here in just a second. But first, I want to just talk real quick about. You know what? Let's pull it up real fast. This is, since we're on the topic, I got to update it, and here you go. So this is our latest weather impact alert for Sunday out here, Lee.
Yeah, no more showers and downpours, and so much so with the heavy tropical rains. It's a lot of very heavy rain that falls in a short amount of time, and that can lead to localized flooding. So Sunday, if you had outdoor plans, it is a weekend, we know, but if you had outdoor plans, think of some indoor backup options now that you could also do on Sunday. And don't forget to stay weather aware, too. You don't want to get caught in any sort of roads that are closing because they could potentially be flooding. We're not saying it's going to happen all across the First Coast. There's just that localized, isolated flooding risk.
And yeah, it's impacting your plans, but maybe you could take the time now to prep up just a little bit for not only this potential storm, but anything else, because it's hurricane season. And even though we have a below average season in the forecast, there still always only takes one. So I actually talked to a Florida Power and Light about exactly that, about how, some things you could prep up and about just watching out in case you lose your electric in your area during any of these storms. So that's what you actually seen there at the start of that a second ago. I was out there hanging out by the river. So let's go back to that video talking about some things you could do to prep up for hurricane season. Here in Jacksonville and on the First Coast, we get tropical systems. I mean, I'm here at Riverside, and we have seen flooding right here at this spot. That's why these barriers are here. So it's never too early to prepare for the hurricane season. I talked to Florida Power and Light about, some preparations you can be doing today.
Whether you are a longtime resident or new to the Sunshine State, now is really the time to start thinking about your emergency plans. For example, if you or a loved one relies on medical equipment that requires electricity, what's your backup plan should you lose power? If you're instructed to evacuate your home, well, where will you go? Chances are, last year, since we didn't have a falling hurricane, this may have been a while for you since you started up that generator. Now is a good time to do a test run, make sure it's operating safely and functioning correctly.
And they mentioned if the power does go out in your neighborhood, what you can expect during the storm.
So here at FPL, we have a tried and true restoration process that's all guided through the principle of restoring the largest amount of customers in the shortest amount of time. We prioritize our critical infrastructure facilities. Those are your hospitals, your 911 centers. And at the same time, we're bringing on thousands of customers. We then focus on our main thoroughfares. These are areas that support your gas stations, your supermarkets, to help the communities get back up and running. And now is the time again to really start thinking about your emergency plans, whether you are new to the Sunshine State or if you're a longtime resident of Florida. Now is really the time to start thinking about your emergency plans because, again, no grid is 100% storm-proof.
So make sure you're not waiting until it's too late to get ready for the next storm. In Jacksonville, I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta, First Coast News. On your
side.
Thank you, Rob. I'm back here. And magic.
And this is good to remember too, because as you said, even if this one doesn't form or really impact us too much outside of what we could see on any sort of big rain day, we're approaching the peak hurricane season.
Yeah, well, peak is what, in September, but you see how things start to really jump up in mid-July. Yep. It starts to jump, and especially throughout the month of August.
Yeah, and the fact that we're already now halfway through the month of July, I mean, it's the 15th. There's 31 days in July, so we're halfway through the month. And so not uncommon to see a yellow blob this time of year, but
Yeah.
it's just going to get more and more frequent as we move into August.
And that's one thing I really want to stress. This is not unheard of. I saw somebody, I posted this, and they were like, climate change. And I was like, like, not to like, climate change is a thing, but just to say, like, this is not, this is normal. This is normal for Jacksonville, the First Coast, the East Coast of Florida. One thing I do want to note, though, and I think we pointed this out at the beginning of the season, is that we have a very strong El Nino in place. So we have below average as far as the tropical season outlook is concerned. But we did say where these storms were likely to form. And we kept on saying northern Gulf and off of the East Coast.
Yes.
Voila. There you go.
That is so true.
It's almost like we kind of know what we're talking about here.
We are on your side,
Almost.
letting you know where to.
Oh, yeah, we're always on your side. We almost know where. I was making a joke, and then you got serious.
We always know. We are always. We are always on your side,
And we usually know what we're talking about.
and most of the time.
All right, so let's talk about our advisory schedule here. 8 a.m., 8 p.m. We had that new update came out this morning, and the next one, this is for when we actually have a named storm. Not so much right at this moment. It's going to be every 6 hours. The National Hurricane Center might upgrade or change this cone out there, but not cone, blob area. It's not a cone. But it's something that we're going to continue to monitor over the upcoming days, which, as you just mentioned, that weather impact alert in place. At the very least, it will be increasing the rainfall across our
Thursday
area.
just disappeared.
It'll load. It does this occasionally.
Okay.
It has to
There
think
we
about
go.
it. There it goes. I've noticed that before this particular graphic. It thinks about it. Okay. There's the rain. But look at Sunday. Good old Tampa and areas just north of Tampa are going to be getting Crystal River, and that's indicating a good 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in some spots out there.
Because that low pressure area going to be, trying to organize out over the Gulf, continuing to move those with that warm Gulf water, move those tropical downpours on shore, and then eventually cross over. And so, while parts of our area not highlighted with too much rain, I do think we'll see pockets of heavier rain as well. So this is just a general view of how much rain areas in Florida and Georgia could see on Sunday. But I do think we'll have pockets of heavier rain as well. But that is something to take note of there. The farther west you go, the more likely heavy rain you will see on Sunday.
And, this is coming from potentially one of our, maybe the second tropical area of the season. We really haven't had an active start. Arthur was out there. All thanks to a lot due to the El Nino. And, just last week, CSU, Colorado State University, of all places, is one of the leading climate experts on tropical cyclone forecasting. I asked Dr. Phil Klausbach why Colorado, and his response always is because when a hurricane hits, we won't flood.
That's the perfect response. He's like, I can monitor these things and study these things perfectly from a safe distance away.
Yeah, and they have a long history of tracking the tropics, and
They do.
They're multi-generations of it. So they just updated their hurricane numbers, and really the big thing, it only takes one. So let's I actually talk about this as well here. So I'm going to go back outside. Not
Okay, go
literally,
run.
but
Go outside. Go. We'll see you outside.
All right, let's go. Back.
Colorado State University, also known as CSU, has just put out their updated tropical season predictions here for 2026. And no surprise, they still are expecting a below average season. In fact, they're dropping their numbers down from back in April, where they were expecting 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes, to now 9, 4, and only 1 major hurricane. Both instances below average in the forecast. And no surprise there, we still have a very strong El Nino in place, and that typically reduces the number of named storm systems in the Atlantic, mainly because of an increase in vertical wind shear, which reduces tropical cyclone formation. But if you notice as well, they still say there's that potential for one major hurricane, and that means at least one place could be looking at a Category 3 or higher based on that long-term forecast. And as we always say, I know it sounds very cliche, it only takes one, but still expecting a below average hurricane season here in 2026. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta.
And so NOAA also puts out a hurricane forecast, a hurricane season forecast, and they went for near to below average as well. And they put out an updated forecast at the beginning or early part of August. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll get an updated forecast from NOAA as well.
I get the feeling it's going to be the same general trend.
Down.
It's been quiet. We got a lot of ingredients that kind of would hinder, especially out in the main formation area of the tropics. That's out in the mid-Atlantic. But as mentioned, higher chances in the northern Gulf off of the east coast, which also means for places like us here on the first coast, we could be looking at rainfall. Actually, I should put that little red block on this. You're going to see us live. I'm going to update it right now. With the red block.
Yeah. The
Sunday.
weather impact alert on our Sunday. So weather impact alert on Sunday because we will have more widespread showers and downpours, tropical downpours. And so that could lead to some localized flooding. When we say that, think of the areas that are typically flooding. If you have roads, if you have ditches that usually fill up in your area, those are the areas that we would expect to see water collection as well when some of those tropical downpours move on through your area. So again, weather impact alert in effect for Sunday. Timing, we're going to make that a little bit more specific as we approach the weekend. Right now, there's still a lot of uncertainty because that low pressure system in the Gulf doesn't even exist yet. We have to watch for it to actually form, and then we'll probably know a little bit better about our timing that we're going to alert you guys to on Sunday. But for now, the general takeaway is if you have outdoor plans on Sunday, let's think now about some indoor backup options.
All right, so that's a look at your 7-day outlook. Let's go to a break, and then when we come back, let's talk about our local forecast over the next few days. We still got about,
5 minutes?
5-6 minutes? Yeah, we'll come to, let's go to a break. Maybe we can show you the protector, because that might be going out this weekend, too.
Yeah, maybe I'll take out the protector. Let's see it.
That is the Protector.
This truck is a beast.
It's got all the tools on it. I love how big the tires are.
And this is going to be able to show you the weather around the first coast like you've never seen it before.
The Protector really is going to help protect the community.
So you can see what it looks like on the ground. And that allows folks to really take action and do something about it.
And it gives us that edge in continuing to be the most accurate weather team.
Sponsored by HananiahAutos.com.
I'm Keitha Nelson. Good morning, Jacksonville anchor and mom of twins, Journey and Trey. I'm on your side, getting you out the door and off to a great start. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
First Coast Living Live.
Bringing you closer to the tastiest food.
The best shopping.
And family fun.
Woo! Jordan Wilkerson and David Benfield. First Coast Living Live. Weekdays at 11 a.m. only on NBC 12.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team is here to deliver your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather and up-to-the-minute information on First Coast News Plus.
The wave of moisture rolls its way on in here.
Our team is the most equipped and experienced to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
My mission is to help you get to where you're going safely. Whether it's helping you beat the backup on 95 or navigating the slowdown on JTB, we've got you covered. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays live from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
The Protector.
We love the Protector. So yeah, you might take it out on Sunday, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll keep a close eye on that. If there's that real big potential for flooding, then we'll be on your side and checking it out. But it's beautiful sunrise.
We took it out the other day out to a marina for your boat story out at Freedom Boat Club. Just kind of parked next to the edge of the water.
I love how people are just like, huh, like they get nervous. Like, it could be a beautiful day. We need the protector out on a beautiful day.
I love just you drive by somebody and it's nervousness or just what in the world is that thing?
There's some awe sometimes, which is nice. They're like, wow, it is a really big truck.
It is a big
truck. The truck is a beast.
It's got weather equipment just kind of sticking out of it. It's cool. It's cool.
Ross likes how big the tires are.
Ross loves how big the tires are. Every promo, he has to put that in there. I love how big the tires are.
This truck is a beast.
So Kate sent us in out at the marina, I believe, Fernandina? No, that doesn't look like Fernandina Beach's marina, though. Anyways, it was a beautiful sunrise this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. Same with Brenda sent in.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Isn't that? I love this shot because you got the water kind of reflecting off of that sunrise. We had they were picking on me this morning here on Good Morning Jacksonville because I called it convective debris because we had storms overnight.
Oh, okay.
And then Brody Logan out here said, that sounds like his high school ska band, like a good name for it.
Yes.
Convective debris.
Why have we not put that band together yet?
That
I'm not
band
musically inclined at all. But
you just need a good name for your band, and the rest will fall in place in convective debris. Don't take it, anybody. That's ours.
Yeah, I mean, Lou plays drums. You guys can really put together a band.
I can play like 3 chords on the guitar.
You can sing.
Can I?
Try it right now. Let's find out.
Anybody can sing. Singing good is the problem. That's my issue. Take a look at our forecast for today, though. 93 isolated showers out there. I think the beach today is probably one of your better options, but do remember that UV index is still up, so that burn time is going to be pretty high here on our Wednesday. Tomorrow, increasing in those showers, hot and humid out there with some afternoon storms as well here on Thursday. But, of course, all eyes are on heading into the weekend here on the First Coast, both Saturday and Sunday. We get an increase in the precipitation because of, well, once again, our little banana out there, that tropical potential. I wouldn't even call it a tropical wave right now. Because
there's nothing out there right now. But
yeah.
We'll watch for that potential over the weekend and be prepared for heavy rain, whether it forms or not.
Yeah. I wouldn't plan beach plans this weekend. Or like going on a long hike in the woods.
Like the boat where you gotta don't go too far because you may need to come inside.
Yeah, you can take the boat out, but just don't go on like an adventure.
Yeah, stay near the marina, stay near the docks. But okay, we're out of time. So we will keep you guys updated, of course, with this every day around 10:30. We'll keep an update on the tropics, and I mean we'll be here all week watching it for you and weekend. You'll have a great one.